Okay, awesome. Guys, how are you guys doing today? All right, today we are very excited to bring my good friend Bryan. All right, so Bryan is somebody very well known in the industry, right? That is very famously known for his YouTube ads, right? So, Bryan, can you give our audience a little introduction about yourself so that they can get to know you better?
Hi guys. So my name is Bryan. I run a company agency that co-founded with other partners. Specifically, my department and my expertise in YouTube ads, and special very specifically is to scale YouTube ads, scale webinar funnels, scale with YouTube ads, to the moon. So typically we have done so far more than in last year alone 8 figures in sales for our partners and clients,
Wow.
and that is with only with YouTube ads. I won't address the Facebook ads part at this point of time as well.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So there are so many paid platforms out there, right? But I'm just curious, why do you think that YouTube is one of the blue ocean in our industry?
So YouTube and Facebook is very different types of platform. And I would say YouTube is still in its heydays, which is like still quite decently new with very, very little competitors. I think that's one portion that we can agree upon, is that you do see only a few people's faces on YouTube ads every time you go on YouTube. That's one thing that actually I really, really like about it, is that the competition is not very fierce there.
Yeah.
And majority of people that start out will not try YouTube first because it's very difficult, A, to navigate the platform, B, to create videos that you think might work. So I think that works in our favor as a strength for our agency and like for our clients as well, so that people who are actually more willing to do videos are able to stand out. And another thing is that with the tracking and privacy issues coming up for Facebook and Apple, and which is all becoming their own platforms and all becoming their own ad platforms, right? What you
Yeah.
see is that most of the platforms will not talk to each other very, very soon. And a common problem is that the intent, the data will not be shared anymore. And what I like about Google is that Google and YouTube is kind of like a company. Basically, Google owns YouTube.
Yeah.
So it shares its data with YouTube, and actually you can actually get that data, access to the data while targeting as well. So like last time, Facebook, you can target demographics, you can target zip code, you can target how much money they earn as well. Currently, you can't do that on Facebook, but you still can do it on Google and with different search terms as well, right? So for example, today I think YouTube is very, very good as a blue ocean to hijack people's traffic. And for example, today you are learning on how to do e-commerce store, how to start a Shopify store.
Yeah.
Basically, if I type in how to start a Shopify store, you might see an ad by somebody that's selling you something, or even Shopify own ad, right? Then that's when it appears in front of you. Your intent is very, very high because you have that problem and you want it to be solved immediately. So that's why it's a blue ocean, and also it has a lot of pros in terms of actually marketing to people on there, because it basically gets in front of the right people at the right time when they're searching for the right things, right? And that's what I love about the platform. And it's also a blue ocean because of like how hard is it to start, right? I think today we're going to share a bit how to start, but taking a video, there might be a lot of questions. How do I take it? How do I do all these kind of things as well?
Yeah.
And you don't a lot of people don't really know what to say on a video, or even for e-commerce product, people don't really know what to do in a video, which is even harder for a lot of people to actually accomplish. So I think this is a good point. If it's hard for people and you can crack it, basically it is I would say like it's very, very easy to actually spend a lot of money and actually earn a lot of money as well.
Awesome. So you have that unfair advantage if you manage to actually crack the code. So I think a lot of us, especially starting out, right? One of the big question that a lot of people ask is that, do you need a big budget or big production, right, to actually shoot YouTube as to be successful in this area?
Honestly, no. For us, what we do is just basically have a camera. Last time when we started with our phones, right? And that's how we started. And honestly, big production doesn't mean anything. It just means that you have money to actually hire for videographers and for camera equipment. It really depends on the brand. I would say if you're starting out, please do not spend money on production. That is a wasteful cost. Rather spend money on post-production, not pre-production or production itself. Post-production meaning editing, right?
Yeah.
If you can get somebody less than $100 to edit your video, make it very, very nice, post-production wise, it is actually more effective than actually having a big cameras, all the expensive cameras and a set and a lot of actors, etc. Right. So typically, what we do for our clients is actually at least have a videographer, and that will set you back at least $1,000 or less than $1,000. But for a case of e-commerce products, you just need a phone and a product and a voiceover. You don't really need a person actually doing it sometimes. And I'm going to share with you what we have found out for e-commerce specifically to be more relevant as well. And I'm sharing my formula in how I really do things. It's actually applicable for all ads. Even you can use for Facebook ads and whatnot as well.
Wow, awesome. That actually leads me to the next question, right? What do you think are some of the key ingredients in a successful YouTube ads? Can you share with us your framework that makes you so successful and help you to stand out from the rest of the competitors?
Honestly, video is a very good platform, be it wherever you are running, especially on YouTube, is that you want to build trust on a video itself and you want to build desire as well, right? These are the two things usually we see on most ads that actually work very well and actually can spend a lot of money itself. So I think for my framework is really starts with BOSS. It's just a boss framework, right? And what it just means in a nutshell is your big idea, your offer, your story, and after that, how do you combat or people's objection and skepticism, right? Which is the last S. So in all in a nutshell, this is just a core on how we do frameworks. You can apply to almost any single product that you're selling. But one thing that before we do a YouTube ad framework is the other portions that actually is very crucial, which is understanding your audience itself, right? Typically, if you don't understand your audience, your ads will flop no matter how good your copy is, how good your offer is as well. So because you're not talking to the right people, right? So back to BOSS, big idea.
Yeah.
Big idea just means an overall message, that one core message that you deliver to your audience, right? So example of it is a lot of e-commerce brands do, like Harman Brothers, they do a lot of video ads. Some of you don't know Harman Brothers is just basically a production house that do very good videos, right? Very entertaining, very highly produced. But all of them actually, the successful ads have one core message, right? So for example, if I think Squatty Potty is a good example. Dollar Shave Club is a good example, right? So Dollar Shave Club is basically you don't need to go to the store to buy all the lousy shaver. We can deliver one to your house directly to you, and you never need another company again. Right? That's maybe their core messaging, or right, really B2C, direct to consumer. D2C means don't buy with the markup from supermarkets, buy directly from us. Right? That's the message that you're really delivering. And then for the Squatty Potty is really that you need this to actually go and poop basically. Right, poop better, right? That's the core messaging. Right? Everybody needs this because the natural way is like this, not like that. Right? That's the message they're going across. So the big idea is really one core message, and you need to find out what's the core message of your ad itself or your offer itself. And when you find that message, like for example, you're in a salesperson in a departmental store, what do you usually use to sell that product to the person that's walking around? And if you guys have any sales background, you will only have one or two core messages that you really say to really sell that product. Last time I sell printer very hard to sell, a lot of brands. so like difference in brands is like Canon, then other brands, Brother, or that kind of all different brands. So very easy is ask what's your problem. Then after that, Canon is better in a certain color quality. That's the only message I give across because anything else I cannot beat when I sell Canon. Right. So that specifically there's a core message of Canon. Everything else you cannot beat. Like ink, how long the ink can last, Brother will win. Everything else, other people will win, right? So there's no way you can win. So rather only bank on one message, deliver that to your audience that actually want it the most in that message as well, right? So that's really the big idea. What is the big idea portion? Second one is really your offer. The offer usually is 3 portions, but today is just in a nutshell, simplified for you guys is what are you truly helping your clients solve, right? First thing is like, how are you solving the problem itself? So my friend actually runs an ad for an ergonomic mouse. I think you can find it in China very cheaply. So he does a bit of drop shipping as well. So he ran a YouTube ads for people who have wrist pain, carpal tunnel syndrome. Right? The offer is relieve your carpal tunnel syndrome, stop this from happening. So that's the main offer, not selling the mouse, right? So the offer is always solving a problem, and if you can perceive, right, they'll pay as much money to solve their carpal tunnel problem rather than just buy a mouse. Exactly. So that's a different way of like saying the same thing. So really need to understand really what offer you're really delivering to your clients and actually really hammer that down very effectively. There are obviously other ways to actually amplify the value, which is what I call a unique framework / ingredient / process, right? Meaning when you create that mouse, for example, you come off you are NASA trained, you go to astronaut, then you realize that all the technology you want to go and create that. Obviously, this is a very high level mouse, but then people will be appreciative of it and will be more than willing to pay hundreds, $200s over dollars for that, right? So that's how you actually stand out from the market as well. And the last one is really about the call to action on the ad, right? You don't want to say buy my mouse today. You want to say relieve your hand from tension, right? You want to say like relax, be able to draw without any pain, right? These kind of things are much better call to action than buy mouse now. That's a very bad call to action.
Rather than just the features, right?
Correct. So yeah, the benefit call to action is more important. There are always other ways to do it, but these are the main three things that for offer that is very, very strong. So coming back to the one that my friend used for the mouse, right? Do you think that a mouse, how do you tell a story of a mouse, which is very, very hard? Honestly, very, very difficult. Unless you tell a story of your specific audience, right? So specific audience mean what? The reason why Harman Brothers ads work so well is because they always tell stories, even if they're selling a physical product, right? So stories are analogies of like they do skits, like they do a movie skit like that, like they do like last time the ancient times what happened, or like they do funny skits, they do like different storylines as well. It's not necessarily real, but it brings across a point and it's entertaining as well. So an example of how I would do a mouse story, like just selling that PC mouse, right? Especially for I would say any hand pain or any like wrist pain, is to target specifically to graphic designers. Because I do know that for them, it is very, very important for them to actually draw for long periods of time, or any other people that actually use a mouse for a super long time, right? Maybe gamers or stuff like that. So these are the specific audience that I'll target, and actually I'll tell a story of somebody doing in that situation as well. Be it a skit, like a story that actually you come up from scratch, like from really you map out a story, or real life story of testimonials of somebody using your products as well, right? So previously, what you can do at the bare minimum is at least minimally tell what is the pain points, and then how you get rid of the pain points with your product, right? That's the bare minimum I would say for a storyline. Obviously, storyline is make it as exciting as possible with much ups and downs and roller coaster like a movie. It is more interesting because as an ad, you want people to be engaged as well, be entertained, and then the experience will be good. And then in the end, they will buy, and their branding will be good in the long run as well. So in a nutshell, story is really like that, right? And the last part is really skepticism. People like say if I'm NASA, right? I create NASA, NASA technology. My question to me when I see the ad is, how sure are you? Can you prove it?
Yeah. Where's the proof? What's the proof?
Correct. What's the proof? Then maybe if you can say like you're really a NASA engineer, right? Like space engineer, or then it's like rocket engineer. Then it's like no brainer. I will buy from you. I see a lot of like shavers as well. They say like designed by a rocket scientist or something like that. Then it's like very, very interesting. But to me, it doesn't really add a lot of value to it. But then the angle is really about the precision that they do, the thing, every single millimeter counts, and it makes it very, very unique and stuff in that space. So it's all about, the last one is proving the things that you have said in the front, the message, right? So do you really have a lot of people buying from you? Is it really sought after with like news articles and whatnot? Like, do you have PR out there? Do you have a lot of testimonials? Do you have a lot of case study of influencers using as well, right? For example, maybe Kim Kardashian use it, right? For example, all these kind of big influencers, even micro influencers use. And when that happens, your brands builds and actually use it as a conversion mechanism that you can actually convert on an ad very, very quickly, very, very fast. So all in all, in a nutshell, a few key principles is the BOSS. One, message. Then the way that you present your offer different from other people. The way that you make the story interesting. And last but not least, how do you show proof that your thing works? People love you. People talk about you every day, and you're highly sought after as well, right? So these are the four things that usually we put in an ad. No matter what, if one of the four is missing, the ad will not do as well as we actually always when we take with all the four inside. So that's how we actually do it, how we plan, and how we take for our clients and our friends.
Wow, I love it. BOSS, so easy to remember. But I'm just curious for YouTube ads, right? That is very, very different from Facebook ads. I realized that the first few seconds of Facebook ads is very, very important. Do you have any tips for our audience if they were to run a Facebook ads?
YouTube ads, right?
Sorry, YouTube ads, yeah.
Okay. So a few ways is that I think BOSS cover most of the things that if you follow the framework, you will not go anywhere wrong. The mistakes usually come when you say too many things in one message, in one ad. Let's just say that you try to target everybody and then you target nobody. That's the first thing that usually happens wrongly. If you want to target everybody You want to target specific buckets that buy your products. You do in specific ads, then target different people. That's easier to do rather than try one and target everybody, which is almost impossible and you cannot scale because you do not know your numbers itself, right? Second thing is that usually I see people try to be funny and entertaining before trying to nail down your message. And that's a very bad way of thinking or going about filming your first ad because you waste a lot of money. I mean, as funny as you might be, you can go viral, right? It doesn't sell your product, right? Same for influencers. Influencer might have a lot of followers, doesn't mean they can have power to influence to sell certain things. I think a lot of stories people use is that influencer got, I think, millions of followers, but cannot even sell 24 t-shirts.
Exactly.
So these are things are I think quite funny. Right. So the way of sales is not based on only how entertaining you are and how much rapport you build, but rather what is your core message and do you really solve their problem? So this is the thing that you need to hammer down rather than, hey, I need to be funny, hey, I need high production value, I need this, all these kind of things, right? It doesn't necessarily need to be that. You can do anything you want as long as you have the main focus is that one message, you will do well. Right? That's the biggest mistakes that I usually see.
Yeah, the main source. All right. So one very technical question I want to ask you is that, is it true that YouTube is more stable in the long run, but the pixel will actually take longer to actually mature compared to Facebook? What are your thoughts on this?
It depends. So depends on the products that you're selling and how pricey the product is, right? So both of them actually have their pros and cons. It is not take. So the question isn't like the pixel take longer than Facebook and more stable, right? Usually for me, it's like the intent is much stronger. So in the case that you're not getting your right audience, there's only a few reasons why, right? Either you target wrongly and really the offer is not suited for your audience, your offer is bad, or your messaging is not really relating it, or even your funnel and your message is totally different, right? These are the few things that you see, no matter what platform you do. So for YouTube, you typically actually on a flip side, it's easier to target. Because if you know your audience very well, you know what they search for, you can target very easily with the right message, right? So this is in a context that you know your audience, you know your message, your offer already converting, everything will work very, very easily, right? Same as Facebook, right? Everything will work according to that. But Google actually takes longer because the platform is actually harder to understand, firstly. And secondly, the pixel-wise is a bit confusing compared to Facebook. Right? It not necessarily takes longer to optimize, right? If you know how to do it properly, it actually be very, very fast. And what I mean is that if you know your numbers very well, your target CPA, which is a bit more technical, is like your bid, how much you bid for that against other people to compete for their interest. If you know the number, you can actually bid very effectively and actually start and scale very fast. So that's really the case. And most of the time, the pixel take very long is because your messaging actually is not right. And then when your messaging is not right, everything takes very long. You need to keep retesting and retesting. The reason why it takes longer to work on Google versus Facebook is because you cannot use image, you cannot use text. Image and text, I can create 10 in a day. Video, I cannot create 10 in a day.
Yeah, definitely.
I will die. Like it's basically like too tiring for me, and I don't have enough brain juice to keep churning out content.
Yeah.
So all the time, if you're already running Facebook ads and it's already working, what I will do, I'll look into the why the Facebook ad work, recraft the message, and then create a video ad. And if the ad doesn't work, I'll keep recrafting the first 5 to 15 seconds of it over and over and over again until it works, right? It's much easier that way than compared to creating a whole brand new video. Because statistics shows me that only 85% people watch the first 15 seconds. Everybody else don't watch any, only the 15% watch the rest, right? So if 85 cannot get you the number of clicks that you want and the number of conversions that you want, no point waiting for the 50% to convert, right? Just keep testing the front part until it hits. And then you actually get much better results. And for optimization, a bit harder to do is going in-depth into what's the demographics and actually offering it. It is more stable, I do agree, is that because intent is always consistent in YouTube and Google compared to Facebook. So what I mean in intent is that if a person is searching for how to do something, how to solve something, the intent is always the same. But if a person is interested in makeup, doesn't mean they are interested to buy or solve a problem.
Yeah.
So that therefore is difference, right? So how Google and Facebook work is really AI. I would say Google AI is much longer already. It has more data. So basically, the more data AI have, the more I would say smart it can be. and you can actually utilize that to your benefit much effectively. So I say for Google and YouTube, for me, I can create an ad, can last for 3 months, and I can don't look at it. I do look at it, but I can maintain it. For 3 months, spend a lot of money on it, especially even in Singapore as well. Even though Singapore is only 5 million in population, I can still manage to last 3 to 6 months with an ad and spending like 5 figures a month or even up to 6 figures a month is still possible. As long as the message is right, the right audience, the offer is the core reasoning.
So now let's talk about the targeting, right? So what would you recommend? Do you recommend people to actually overlap their targeting, or do you recommend people to just target specifically on just one targeting?
Depends on the money that you have, how much money you have in ad spend. But honestly, YouTube is for a bit bigger budget. You cannot do like $100, $200 on ads. Like you try to do $10 a day, it might work, but you take very, very long for it to work because of the data collection, right? So usually for me, I typically advise people to start at least to $2,000 to $3,000 in ad spend. Obviously not in a month.
Okay, in a month.
Yeah, not in a day, not in a day, in a month. So but coming back to your point is that you shouldn't overlap your audience, which is why if you test, you got 100 audience to test, right? How many, if you only spend $3,000 a month, if you test 100 audience, basically one day you test finish. No more money to spend.
Yeah.
So that's why you need to know your audience very, very well if you don't have enough money to spend, right? If you're doing very, very small budgets, understand where they're at and then target them. That is the key, right? But if you're doing testing wise, for me, I typically do not test 10 audience at one, 15 audience in one, 3 big audience, 3 keywords. I don't test like that. I test singularly every single one. One keyword, one campaign, one ad group. Everything is one. Because it's same as Facebook, right? So when the question is that when you do multiple interests into one Facebook targeting or Google targeting, Facebook is even worse because you cannot really see where exactly is giving you the results.
Yeah.
Which is even worse. So like for example, you target Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, all this targeting. My question to you is usually which one is actually the real one that converts? You won't know. Yep. So same as Google. If you do that, you will know which one converts because you can see it clearly, but you won't spend everything else. So means one will spend 90% of the budget. And then when that happens, right, you will keep thinking to yourself, hey, like that, YouTube don't work. Because it doesn't work because it's only spending one interest that you think that it's spending in the whole campaign. So therefore, you need to test as much as possible and within your budget. Typically, we put 4x your target cost per acquisition of your target. How much you want, for example, you want $20, you put $80 per day, right? And then I will wait at least 2 to 3x of your cost per target acquisition. Then I queue, depending on whether I get, don't get, or what does the data tell me. It's very, very technical, but then a nutshell, I think what someone told me this morning, how do I know what to test, what to optimize? If it earn money, let it earn money. It doesn't earn money, queue it, right? Very, very simple.
How long do you take before you start to decide that, okay, this thing is not working, I've decided to queue it? 3 to 5 days?
Depends on how much you spend.
Okay.
I don't decide on 3 to 5 days or what. I just see how much you spend. So you spend $50, you know sale, but target is $20, just kill it. Like there's no point waiting for another $60 for Google. If you're doing very, very high intent, right? There's a context to this. If you're doing a very, very specific keywords and it's not converting, kill it. If you're doing very, very broad-based targeting, which is like you just target based on interest, like just like one keyword is like, let's just say you target money. Everybody who likes money will come to you. Make money online, how to earn money, e-commerce, everything will come. How to earn money, stocks, even will come to you. So they're very, very broad.
Broad keyword, yeah.
Super broad, right? Or even broad interest, like, hey, this person just male. And 25 to 60 years old. Okay, that's too broad, right? When you're doing that, you need more time and data. I wouldn't suggest people to start from there because it needs a lot of money to know what's your right audience. So that's the case where we start with keywords, more specific things first, then we go out broader and broader. And when you have more data, which is like 30, 300 conversions and even more conversions, Google will then know where to send your traffic, which pocket audience to send your traffic. Even if I run no interest right now for some of my clients, you still get the right traffic.
Because the pixel is mature.
Yeah, because we get over like, I think like 10 to 100,000 of the conversions inside already. And then I don't really need to tell Google who I want anymore. The pixel knows what is doing it. And then the AI will go and find the right audience.
Usually, how long does it take before the AI is mature?
Usually you
1 year,
do around 30 at the start, 30 conversions,
30
30
conversions.
to 300 conversions. It really depends. Like I say, like if you're selling high ticket, there's no way you can hit like 300 conversions in a very short time.
Mm.
But if you're doing low ticket, which is like selling a lot of like random small little products, you should be able to do it fairly quickly. Yeah. So how I think about scaling is there's two ways to think about scaling. One is horizontal scaling, one is vertical scaling. Vertical just means spend more money on that particular campaign product. Just spend more money, get more eyeballs on that, and the right eyeballs get until the point that Google tell you, hey, spending more, you cannot earn any more money. $1 become $1. No way you spend any more doesn't make sense. Right? So that's what I mean by vertical. But what people don't do is horizontal, which is targeting. Right? Horizontal is much easier to scale. Which is basically if the person is like coming back to the mouse example, if the person is carpal tunnel syndrome, right? Though that's one thing I will target. Wrist pain, I will target that. Graphic designer job, right? I'll target that. Specific gamers, I'll target that, right? Graphic art, maybe different terms of graphic artists, I'll even target that, right? Or maybe what are the wrist pain problems that people go and look for? Then I will target all what's that? OTs, what occupational therapists as well, because they help people with these kind of problems as well. So all this our key concerns is like once you know your audience, you can target horizontally and actually can scale. Like everyone you spend $100 a day, and everyone giving you like roughly similar amounts as well. That's how you spend like 1,000, 10,000 a day, easier than actually scaling one and then you hit the ceiling very very fast.
Yeah, understand.
So that's how usually I think about scaling. It's about like products as well. I think somebody told me this before, which is very very interesting. When I did dropshipping at a point of time, I did e-commerce as well. Everybody say that you don't have a business when you have a 7-figure product, right? Because if that product dies, your whole business dies.
Yeah.
You have only a business when you have you consistently have set multiple 7-figure, 6-figure, and even 5-figure products.
Yeah.
And that's when you have a business, right? So imagine this: if you spend $100 a day, you spend 3K a month, you get a 5-figure product. Will you still do that product? You still do it because it's free money. Then you will do a 6-figure one, you spend 10K, you get 6-figure, you spend 100K, you get 7-figure. I will do all three at one go and earn more money together. And that's how you scale your e-commerce business, right?
Yeah.
So similarly, ads, you need to think in the same way. Your campaign is a 7-figure campaign, 6-figure campaign, and a 5-figure campaign. It's all about how much money you spend per campaign to actually maintain that level to milk out, I would say, the most money in that audience that you can. When you think of it like this, it's very, very easy to scale and become I would say like a media buyer or ads person, right? It's become very, very simple to understand.
Understand. Yeah. Wow. A lot of golden nuggets today. So I'm just curious, like, let's say if a person were to launch a video, would you recommend just one video or coming up with 5 videos to test in one specific category?
So it depends on the buckets or audience that you, how many audience that have bought your stuff or what research you have done to know how many different types of people buy that product. So that makeup, there's a lot of different type of people that buy.
Yeah.
Right. So, and it's also suited for different type of purposes, right? Because of skin tone and everything. So if you know your audience well, you specifically maybe these 2 skin tone works very well. And these 2 skin tone people are typically 25, 50, then maybe female, obviously female, and then maybe of a certain ethnicity, of a certain job as well. Maybe they are more clerical, more white collar. And then you know exactly who you target. You actually can create 2 different versions of your video, targeting to specific 2 of them with a different story and a different offer, but it's still the same product. And then you just need to do 2 lah. If it's 3 different audience, you do 3, right? So I think our mentors also tell me, and recently today, at the start, find out what's the easiest one to target. First thing, focus on one first, right?
Yeah.
Get that one out first. Don't take like maybe 2-3 months thinking of how to write a script. Who do I actually target? I got 3 how to target. Find out your best one, the most biggest audience, easiest to convert. Go and do that first. Yeah, I would say quickest wins first. Then after that, from there, create that video ad. It's one ad can. What I will do is, if I know the messaging is right, I'll create one ad with 3 hooks. Minimum 3, because I know one of the hook will not work. I just want to test to see which hooks work. We don't know until we test, or even though you do however much research, you talk to however much people, the market changes, prospects lies, and then only data and money will tell you the truth. Wow. Right? So if they buy, it's the truth. If they don't buy, it's not working. Simple as that. So one video, 3 hooks, more than enough. So a hook just basically the first 5 to 15 seconds. that we do. And if we stop working and you spend enough money, just redo the hook again, you will earn more money.
Can you share with our audience some examples of some good hooks that is working for your industry?
Good hooks.
Just some examples so that they can understand what is a good hook.
I think all of you have seen the 35-second, 45-second stop, all that kind of thing, the hook already. So that's one hook that usually does very well because it, if you know in terms of like psychology, when you command people in a command and voice, they really follow the instructions accordingly. So when I say stop, a lot of people will stop. Stop and watch this ad, they will stop and watch this ad. All right, so this is what I mean by a hook. But there are more elegant ways to do hooks. Please do it like in an elegant way, in a manner, right? So example is that showcasing of a different angle. If in the case of the ergonomic mouse, the hook can be you use a mouse and then the guy's face is pain and then the whole screen is red. That is a hook. Not necessarily you need to say something to be a hook. Okay. Think about how you can explain pain in 5, 4, 6 different ways. And that is very crucial, right? So another way of hook usually I do is explain the pain, right? Then directly call out to the people that you want to talk to. Hey, graphic designers, hey, this one you might be actually using every single day, work from home, doing more and more projects. That's why you need this mouse. Because it is, then you do statistics like, statistics say, then you go and research, right? 90%, don't know how many percent of people who use the mouse after 3 years, 5 years, 10 years of actually doing graphic design will actually develop this syndrome called carpal tunnel syndrome, right? Then you go into your product, right? That's how I do hooks as well. The other easiest way to do hook I like to do is before after, right? Or comparison, right? So basically, if with your product, no pain, without your product, pain. Very, very simple, right? Okay, with Jonathan's help, e-commerce thriving, a lot of money. Without his help, brick and mortar, nobody come, right? So that's a very, very good example of what you mean.
Before and after.
Yeah, before and after. Immediately people understand, right? The offer, everything immediately shown as well. And then it's very, very eye-catching. And then it deep contrast, people understand it directly. So these are typical 3, 4 types of hook that we use. Other one is just very basically call out, right? So it's about debunking the myth. You debunk a myth, and it's also very, very strong. Then like, do you know that mouse, when the creator of a mouse create a mouse to actually cause you more wrist pain, so you go hospital? And then it's like, what's this, right? That is a very interesting hook. Then people are like, how is that possible? Yeah, it's very, very weird, very controversial, very contrasting as well. Yeah. So it's all about capturing attention. So think about what captures your attention, what ads you see, and actually how can you create a similar type of ads in your industry, in your product as well. I typically don't like to create from scratch because it's very, very difficult. I would say like a great artist steal, but don't obviously steal wholesale. You want to steal with elegance and with class. So then you want to be a person that actually can create from an idea. So if people want to actually learn more about this, you can read a lot of books about hooks, about copywriting, about idea linking, right? And in a nutshell, how to create a good hook is how to create a good idea. A good idea just consists of 2 ideas. Okay. It is that simple. One idea plus another idea equal good idea.
That's very interesting. Another perspective.
Yeah, so it's just all that. It's like, don't need to think so hard. No need to, how to do like that. If you see an industry doing well, you look into the industry, is it doing? If it's not doing and it can apply to the industry, you add that thing to your new industry, it becomes a new idea. Yeah. Right. How many of times a new software has come up because of that?
You actually add some improvisation.
Right. Netflix, cable TV, right? All these are not from nothing. They look at what is happening around the world. They have an idea from somewhere. They combine 2 or 3 ideas together, and then it becomes what it is today, and a mega giant, right? Yeah. So that is like how ideas are being born. A business idea, marketing idea, all these are from there. And I think if you are able to actually create ideas or combine them very, very easily and have that critical thinking and idea generation, it is very easy for you to be successful in majority of the things that you do because you always think out of the box. And the story I had today was that one of my team members say like, hey, this tech problem, right? I cannot, when somebody comes to my webinar, I cannot put a date and time to it. I can only know when they choose a date and time of the webinar. I don't know when they opt in, right? So a normal person will just come in and say like, hey, the program is wrong. I'll go and search for a program, right? I did a 2 to 3 minute quick fix, which is how do I use another program to loop it so that I get a date and time from the another trigger, right? In an automation sense. Then I just do in 5 minutes, I get it done. I don't need to find any other software. Because I think beyond the problem here, I see how do I do it in another way. I just add it in. All right, it's very, very simple, very, very fast. And the most simple ideas are actually the easiest to execute as well.
Yeah, thinking out of the box.
Yeah, simplicity. Simplicity.
Awesome, awesome. So last question, for somebody that's starting out, do you have any advice for them?
Start small. Don't think too big, right? Focus on one small thing at a time. So if you're doing Facebook ads and it's doing well, continue doing that. Focus is key, right? If you're not even getting sales yet, please do not start on a YouTube and learn a brand new platform and then crash and burn. That's what's gonna happen. I think Jonathan and me have been through ups and downs of entrepreneurship. We understand that, but a lot of people don't do. I'll be honest. I tell you this, I think 90% of the time you still try. Because that's the entrepreneur disease, I would say, right? So it is normal. But other than that, think of the fundamentals of business and marketing. That is very more important. How to sell is very important compared to everything you learn in tech and how to run Facebook and all that kind of thing. If you know how to sell one way, you can use ads to multiply that to save your time, to get more people to reach out, the right people to reach out to you and attention in your store, and then you can scale. So it's very, very simple. Don't need to overcomplicate everything, right? If you have a right way of selling already, and it's already working, and you test it's working, the right proof of concept, then that's when you know you can learn, get people to do it for you, and borrow money even to be resourceful and stuff like that, right? Typically, when starting out for a YouTube campaign, I usually see what assets have I created or what the client already have that we can multiply. I do not start off like, hey, what new idea can I do for this campaign? No, quick wins always first, because what you don't see in front of you is always a gold mine. Yeah. So really, what in front of you is always a gold mine. If, like, for example, if I'm selling, what's a good thing to sell nowadays? Air cooler, I think quite good to sell now, because Singapore very hot, and then aircon somebody always break down. Then a lot of aircon people very, very busy because Malaysia never come in.
Yeah, don't have enough contractor.
Right. What if I sell air cooler? Then what if I combine what you interview Brandon and Adam, right?
Yeah.
I combine the idea of cooling in Singapore. I just do the same style of ad, but I do air cooler. Can it work? And I'm selling a $200 to $500 product. Right? If that work, I think that will 90%. I think got probability of it working very successfully. Right? You just create a brand, white label, go and do it, then you're done. Right? So that's like what I mean by starting successfully. See what assets that you already have in your job, right? Specifically as well. A lot of people don't see into what they have done before, and what they already have the experience in. So, for example, if you're an engineer, maybe you're experienced in certain things that you already know very, very well. If you are maybe a pharmacist, maybe somebody nutritionist, you can even sell supplements, right? It's really think out of the box and use what you have. So for me, last time when I started an agency, I targeted chiropractors and physiotherapists because I was a physio graduate. Means I graduated. Right? So very, very simple. I go them, they cannot smoke me. I know exactly what all the terms are. You test me, I know, right? Then I exactly know how you collect your collection and how you do everything also. Because I know private and public very, very different, right? I know physio cannot sell because physiotherapists don't sell upsell. Chiro can sell because why? The context of a chiropractor in Singapore is that they are actually bonded, they bring over, they need to pay their school debts. And the highest risk that thing they do is they start business immediately after their bond to earn back the money. Do you think they will sell? Confirm sell you one, because they need to pay back their bond within a certain time frame.
Yeah.
So that's the context of the thing that I know about the industry a lot. And then when they talk about certain terms, certain things, I became like an expert in that, much easier. And the things that they say and the client's problems, I can actually diagnose quite quickly as well.
You can relate very well.
Relate very, very strongly. Yeah. So all the jargons they use, I understand. So very, very easy for me. If I want to sell, let's just say memory foam pillow for chronic back neck ache, I can sell to a chiropractor easier than a salesperson can sell. Right? Because I know all the terms. And if I run it online, I can say this is approved by chiropractic because I go to a chiropractor, say, do you approve this? Yes, approved by chiropractic. Wow. And that increases your value 10 times. Rather than memory foam. Yeah, so that's how thinking out of the box and using your experience will, I would say, assist you. And be very, very intentional with what you're doing in your time. That's why I always look into yourself first, then look for how do you maximize and leverage upon your experience and people's experience as well. Sometimes you think that I don't have, like you say, you always think to yourself, I don't have experience. And for me, it's always ask questions to mentors like you, John. Students can ask mentors, you ask mentors of other people, and then when easily you can get an answer, which is making more requests for people, and then you can get an answer. So like what Jonathan say, I think in his webinar, you say like, just partner with people that already know what they're doing. That's the simplest way that you can actually do it.
Leverage.
Leverage is very, very simple. It's the easiest form of leverage. So today, I wanted to learn how to actually improve my webinar. A typical person will buy course. I go and ask a 9-figure guy, which I have no relationship online, can I hop on a call with you? He hop on a call with me.
Yeah.
I got a way more value out of that than any other course that I have done.
Yeah.
Right, just in the short term. And that's really just by asking you get your results that you want in the long run.
So one of the things I always like to share is that if you don't have the resources, then you want to be resourceful, right? You want to be resourceful and see what are some of the things that you can actually leverage and what are some of the things that you can actually rely on. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. All right, so for those of you that enjoy this video with Bryan, if you want to connect with Bryan, I'll actually put the link below. All right, so if you're interested in Bryan's service or you want to find out more about what Bryan is doing, you can actually connect with him. All right, so I hope that you enjoy this video. And for those of you that are watching on YouTube, don't forget to click on the subscribe button, right, and the notification bell, because every day we'll be launching new videos like this to actually help you to grow and scale your e-commerce business. All right, so I hope that you guys enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you, Bryan.
Bye.
Bye.